A new year brings new challenges for these division champions.
The Toronto Rock swept the Calgary Roughnecks in their 2013 season opener and will continue to dominate in this home opener. Rock versus Roughnecks. The NLL is live, and it's next on the Lacrosse Network. Welcome to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. It is time for the home opener here in Toronto. Stamper, I'm excited. You're excited. These two teams, one of the greatest rivalries in the National Lacrosse League. The Rock sweeping the season series a year ago. But for the Rock, the biggest change is behind the bench. John Lovell taking over from Troy Cordingley.
John Lovell, who was an assistant coach with the club beforehand, takes over, and it is a bit of a change in temperament for these Rock players. Troy Cordingley, a fiery individual, always knew exactly where he stood. John Lovell, you know where you stand with him, but he's a much quieter guy. He'll get out and say what he feels to say, but it's a different approach to leading the team, and we'll see how that affects the way the team is impacted. They've also got, of course, Dan Ladouceur and Blaine Manning, both new to coaching in the National Lacrosse League, but the one thing you see, they're Rock guys through and through.
Absolutely. Let's move to the Calgary Roughnecks now. An interesting fact I found out before the game, 8 former first-round draft picks that the Roughnecks drafted themselves. So 8 of their own currently on this roster. So that talks to tremendous drafting on their part. Talk about this year's first-round pick, Tor Reinhold.
You know, Tor Reinhold is very fast. He's a transition guy. He can play up front if they need him, and everyone's putting a lot of emphasis on the ability to play at both ends of the floor with only 16 runners dressing for each game this year, and Tor Reinhold has the stick skills to play up front if you need him to, but he's a good solid defender and very fleet getting the ball up the floor.
For the Toronto Rock, just 3 new players in the lineup for Toronto. Blaine Manning retired, as you mentioned, behind the bench. Ethan O'Connor, first-round draft pick. Talk about him.
Ethan O'Connor is a guy who had a terrific junior career, played very well in his rookie season in Major Series Lacrosse. I think that really helped his development, playing with the Brampton Excelsiors team that struggled this year, but he got a lot of floor time, a lot of chances to work on different things. He can get the ball up the floor. He's an increasingly competent defender, and they wanted to get some more speed, some more speed getting up the floor, and he brings that for them.
In net, talk about the goaltending. Who has the advantage in this? Mike Poulin, the wily veteran for Calgary, in goal. Nick Rose for the Toronto Rock. Now, Nick Rose, we've seen, has played solid struggle in the playoffs. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's had his troubles. Who has the advantage tonight?
It's really hard to say, I'll tell you, because Mike Poulin 2 years ago was the goalie of the year in the National Lacrosse League. The Poulin Wall. Going into last year, I don't think there's any question you would have gone with him for the edge.
Right.
But last year he struggled a bit, didn't have the same numbers, didn't have the same look. He didn't have the same pass the sniff test of just a guy you didn't want to face necessarily. Whereas Nick Rose, third in the league in shot and save percentage, third in the league in goals against average, led the league in wins. He established himself in his first season as a full-time starter as, potentially one of the elite goaltenders in this league.
We'll send it down for the national anthem.
Love in all thy son's command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
The national anthem is done. The season is about to get underway here for the Toronto Rock and the Calgary Roughnecks. Welcome to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, ladies and gentlemen. I am Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp. This is week 2 of the season, but the opener for each of these clubs. Last week, a busy week around the National Lacrosse League, Stephen. We had Philadelphia down the Buffalo Bandits in Buffalo 17-13. The Swarm being edged out in Rochester by the Nighthawks, the two-time defending Rochester Nighthawks 8-6, and the Edmonton Rush 13-10 over the Mammoth in Colorado. Stamper, give us your thoughts on this game. We talked about the goaltending a little bit beforehand. Who do you like edge-wise in the opener? Remember, last year, Toronto did sweep the season series.
You know, these teams have played in the season opener the last 2 seasons.
Right.
2 years ago, Calgary came in here and beat Toronto at home, started things off well for them. Last year, Toronto goes out to Calgary and beats the Roughnecks in their season opener at home. So it's a tough call. These are 2 very good teams, the top 2 teams in the league last year, the division leaders. I had to pick it for IL Indoor for our weekly staff picks.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I looked at the picks today when they were going up and saw that I picked Calgary, and I was surprised because I thought I picked Toronto.
Really?
I went
It's
back
that
and
close.
forth. It was that close. It's a really tough call. I've waffled on it, but I did pick Calgary, so I'll have to go with it.
Happy New Year. It's
Toronto Rock in their home white, blue, and red jerseys. The Roughnecks of Calgary in their red and black. One of the best face-off men in the business, Jeff Snyder, for the Calgary Roughnecks, will head into the face-off circle. Stephen Hoare, the usual man to take the draw for Toronto. Quick transition team for both of these clubs, Stephen. I like Jesse Gamble out of the Rock.
Oh, no kidding. Everybody likes Jesse Gamble. He's up there alone in the offensive zone, and he's battling right now for some position. And we haven't even got the season started, and there's a lot of pushing and shoving already. Grant Spies doing the face-off.
Here we go! The 2014 season is underway for the Rock and the Roughnecks. Toronto wins the draw, and there is Scott Johnson heads off. Toronto's offense will be on the floor. Only 3 new faces from a year ago. Blaine Manning had some injury troubles the past couple of years, is now behind the Rock bench as an assistant with John Lovell. Troy Cordingley in Buffalo. Captain Colin Doyle on the right side went to pop it to Garrett Billings off the boards. It'll be Calgary ball here. Both teams won their respective divisions, the East and West, a year ago. But it was the Rochester Nighthawks who, for the 2nd straight year, came home with the NLL championship.
Nice work by Stephen LeBlanc to pressure the ball and force Calgary to use up some of their 30-second clock.
There's Dobie shuffling, went for the screen shot. Didn't get past Greer. Marshall also on the floor. A veteran club still, this Toronto team. Looking to add some youth with O'Connor on defense. Gamble on transition. Rob Hellier as well, entering his 3rd year. Getting smacked around is Kyle Belton. The only 2012 Toronto Rock draft pick. That's the 10-second violation there, Calgary ball. Kyle Belton, Stanford, the only 2012 draft pick of the Rock to get on the lineup, to get in the 23-man roster last year. Of course, this season, it's down to 20-man.
And, you know, he's one of those guys who his speed is a big factor in why he stuck around. It was hard to make rosters this year. Every roster is so deep. There's a shot by Shatler on the outside. Ethan O'Connor with a bit of a tough first shift there. Ran into the official, wound up falling down, but got things going.
And behind, loose ball scramble, front of the crease. These 2 teams know each other very well. A lot of respect, but they play each other hard. Jeff Shatler, the NLL MVP from a couple of seasons ago on the floor, number 77. Calgary going from left to right on your screen. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Lacrosse Network. Just under 2 minutes have expired in the first quarter. 1 shot for Calgary, no score. Picked up again, here's Veltman. Went to the weak side, couldn't be gobbled up by number 17, Curtis Dixon. What a gamer Dixon is, as he is leveled right in front of Nick Rose. Shot clock violation for Calgary.
There's Dixon's first flying attempt at a goal this year, but he was really pressed for time. The shot clock only had about 3 seconds left when he picked it up off the boards.
Garrett Billings rumbling in, tried to go far side himself. No good, off of the right wing. Josh Sanderson intercepted, picked up. Jeff Schneider, face-off specialist, trying to do it himself over the top. Did a head fake. 2 brother combinations on this Calgary team. Carnegie's and Harnets. Hellier now, so speedy. He's small Stamper, but he can move lightning quick.
Delayed penalty coming to Calgary. So the Rock get their 6 attackers out on the floor.
Rose to the bench. Pass too hot to handle for Stefan LeBlanc, looking for a rebound year. Inconsistent as Dan McRae touches the ball. Now let's see what the call is.
Busted.
It'll be Garrett McIntosh off to the sin bin for a couple.
Too many men.
So the in-house is Garrett McIntosh. See what the Rock's power play can do. It was potent last season. Colin Doyle over the top. For the second time in this early game, Colin Doyle's passer shot has been deflected.
Mike Carnegie getting a stick in the way of that one.
Captain re-signed this offseason. Colin Doyle over the top. Former Roughneck, by the way. And Casey Behrens kicked it out. Garrett Billings battling on the near boards. John Harnett going after Billings. Another 100-point season for Garrett Billings last year. Finished with 100 even, second year in a row where he reached triple digits. Josh Sanderson.
And that's a big second chance attempt when you get those defensive players tired.
Minute 17 left in the power play for Toronto. And Mike Poulin, the Poulin wall, quick outlet pass. Calgary looking to eat up some clock. There's Harnett taking his time. A little back pass, almost got away from Schattler. Would have been an over and back call. Roughnecks will be shorthanded for still another minute. 11 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Josh Sanderson is staying down in the offensive zone. That's why we got them 3-on-4 here in the Rock defensive end.
Keeping him honest. Rose tosses it to the captain. 40 seconds to go for Toronto with this man advantage. Offense coming back on the floor. Big man Stefan LeBlanc. Would like to see him be a bit more physical, Stamper, using that huge body, 6'3" of him. Josh Sanderson in the far corner. Being shoved by McRae. Underneath, tiptoeing on the crease, Jack scores! The captain! Colin Doyle, who is now just 2 goals shy of 400 in his career. 1-0 Toronto.
And that's just a great fake by Colin Doyle. Throws it across. You don't see Doyle doing a lot of the diving play, but in this case he's kind of leaning across the crease and just throws a nice fake, draws Poulin across with him, and had plenty of room to tuck it back into the far side.
Nice goal to begin the action. And they'll count on the power play.
He was very close to the crease. A great job by Doyle of keeping his toes just outside that line.
That veteran presence. Damon Edwards on the floor for Toronto. What a nice pickup he was last year. Mid-season acquisition. Hellier on the near corner. Toronto Rock going from right to left on your screen. Garrett Billings has the pick set on the top. Wow! A bullet by number 13. Poulin didn't even see it. 2-0 Toronto.
Roughnecks just a little slow getting out on Billings, and we know if you give him time, he is a great shooter. We have a perfect angle of it just inside the post. It was barely in the net before it was back out. It sprung off of that mesh.
So an early 2-0 Toronto lead. A beauty. What a screen set there, Stamper. Wow.
That was a chance. That's a situation of taking a bit of advantage of the rookie. Tor Reinhold trying to get out on them, and he was maybe half a step slow, and you learn pretty quickly you can't afford to do that in this league.
Beautiful spin move by Andrew McBride, the captain. Re-sign, has pocket, picked the wall on! Marshall and Poulin with the stick side save. It was a great pickup by McBride, and then he was picked, and Marshall missed the opportunity. We'll step aside quickly, come back, 9:42 to go in the first quarter. You are watching the NLL across the Lacrosse Network. Get some new team gear for the season by visiting the NLL shop online. Go to shop.nll.com for the best prices and selection on clothing and accessories for all 9 teams. With flat rate shipping and no hassle returns, the NLL shop is the place for all things NLL. Visit shop.nll.com today, powered by Fanatics. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp. 2-0. The Toronto Rock out to an early 2-0 lead here in the home opener for both these clubs. Toronto sweeping the season series a year ago. And Stephen, Colin Doyle, who got the first goal, just 2 scores shy of his 400th career goal. That's something we'll be watching.
1,000 career points in this league.
Wow.
It's a remarkable feat.
Josh Sanderson stumbled, got the ball free though. Toronto's first goal coming on a power play. Then it was a rocket by Garrett Billings. The right side, the captain unable to penetrate, being forced out to the line. 6 left on the shot clock. Sanderson corrals it in. Up top and knocked away. Casey Mearns was robbed. And a long Hail Mary bomb. Can he get it? Ran out of real estate, had to come back for it. Carson Leung, one of the rookies.
Here's a second-round draft pick.
Whoa! And Dan McRae was absolutely leveled. He will head off. He got up and jogged to the bench.
There is a penalty coming on the play.
Wow. And Nick Rose with the stop. And we'll hear what the penalty is.
McRae went down. Been an offensive guy in the past, but they've really worked him over to the defensive side of the floor. He's been playing in MSL as well the last couple of years, and he brings a big physical presence, a little bit over the line on that one.
Dustin Dunn, the other new face, he is a scratch tonight. Calgary moving the ball well behind the back. Rose hugged that steal just in time. Curtis Dixon was hunting.
That is a great
a break. Jesse Gamble scores! Jesse Gamble rolls the dice and pots it for Toronto's third of the night.
Great outlet by the Rock, and it all started with the save by Nick Rose. Curtis Dixon, one of the most athletic players in the league, dives from behind the net. Rose was in perfect position to stop that one. The Rock pick up the loose ball, off they go, and Jesse Gamble uses those wheels to head up the floor and pots one.
Last year, Steve and I called him the most underrated transition man in the game. People are quickly taking notice. And a double collision there. Jeff Schneider falling. Gamble short-handed, 1:27 to go on the power play for Calgary. Garrett Billings battling, eating up clock. Shuffling over the line. He's just taking his time. There's Carson Leung going up against Garrett Billings, the wily veteran. This game has been all Rock thus far. Garrett Billings to the weak side. Wayne Sanderson didn't see a lane, ate up the 30-second shot clock. A minute even remaining in the power play for the Roughnecks. 7:42 in the first. 3-0 Toronto, and shots in favor of the Rock, 6-4.
We'll see if the Rock can hold off the Roughnecks on the power play and come out ahead on this penalty 2 minutes.
Calgary cycling the ball. Doby got rid of it. Fake over to Doby. Dixon collecting the trash in behind. Got to watch out for him behind the net. Went Shetler, swing and a miss. Picked up by Bill Greer. Bill Greer. He's hustling, rumbling, stumbling, and pulling. Shoulder stop.
Great job by Greer to get position and get that shot off. Put his shoulder down, kept Dane Doby away from the ball, but Doby was there to scoop up the loose ball after the shot.
Jeff Shatler jogging into Toronto territory. Clicks with Shatler. Back to Veltman. Veltman receives. Left just outside the crease. Beautiful one-time swing, and Calgary gets on the board. Dane Doby delivers. Have a look.
Just 3 seconds left in the penalty when they make this play. You just cannot cover all of these Calgary offensive threats throughout a game, and certainly not when you're shorthanded. And that'll be a an important factor for the Rock to try and stay disciplined, but a great pass, and Dobie makes no mistake, as he generally doesn't when he's in alone.
No, absolutely not. It was dynamite. So now the Roughnecks on the board here, and these two teams have so much firepower and toughness. It's so evenly matched, Stephen, that a 2, 3, 4 goal lead really doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot, does it?
No, not in this game, and with this much talent for both teams. There's Sean Evans getting the shot off, and
nice stop by Rosie.
You know, that is one aspect of his game that he's maintained. I mean, he had 80 assists last year to lead the league with 112 points and was MVP and scoring leader, and he's really developed his game at passing, but that time he showed he can get his shot.
Absolutely. Back to even strength. Leaping, that would have been a crease violation anyway. Good to see Stefan LeBlanc being more physical.
And LeBlanc's going to the box. They're going to call goaltender contact, and he will be heading off to the box for 2, so the Roughnecks right back on the power play.
Yeah, 6'1", 205 for LeBlanc. Plays a lot bigger at times, and he's had that success from his rookie year. He's been inconsistent. So he'll have a seat for 2 minutes or less. 6:18 remaining in the opening quarter.
His numbers have gone down a little bit over the years, and I think they'd like to see that come back up, you know, see him get some more points, but the key is he can be a big physical inside presence for them.
Dane Dobie trying to create a lane in front of Nick Rose. He ducked, and Rose saw it just in time. Nice screen, quick outlet pass in behind Chapman. Chapman being mauled by Dobie, no call. Whoa! And a smack right on Poulin by Jesse Campbell. He's not big, but he's tough, all 5'9", 180 of them. Whoa! And right back the other way, that will be on the power play. Calgary gets their second.
That is just a beautiful pass from Sean Evans. Talked about how he can find a shot, but he is known for the passing. He just gets his second straight assist, and Dane Dobie with the quick stick finish. Nick Rose did not leave a lot of space between himself and the post, and Dobie found that little spot.
Pinpoint accuracy. So 3-2 the score. Dane Dobie his second goal, both with the man advantage. So Toronto going to have to try to stay out of the penalty box here. Rob Marshall scooping up for Toronto in the neutral zone. He waits. He'll head off now. Garrett Billings trying to get past that Sea Red. Kick back out to the line. Billings receives. Billings has a lane. Billings ran into traffic. Hillier from the outside. And trickled in behind Poulin. Somehow that got through. Poulin stopped it clean and just wriggled past him.
Looked like it got into his gear, and as he dropped to the floor to try and land on top of the ball, make sure it stayed there, to roll back between his legs. Rob Hellier, I'll tell you, that kid can rip it.
Absolutely. Fast, not always the most accurate, but he can put some mustard behind that ball. 4-2 Toronto. Calgary leading in the shot category, 8-7. 5:33 to go in the first quarter.
You're talking about how the swings can go. Very important to stop Calgary's offense when they do get rolling. Here's the flip back. Hellier lets it fly from outside. Somehow eludes Poulin. But with the 2 straight goals, important for the Rock to get back on track.
It just somehow found its way past Mike Poulin. Billings with the assist for Toronto. So Billings with a goal and an assist tonight. There's Billings. Whoa, that went up. Oh, I didn't know that went in. It went off the post and in. Poulin getting slammed, and Toronto can do no wrong. Stefan LeBlanc connecting for his first of the season.
I thought that was Colin Doyle letting that one go from outside, but no, it is Steph LeBlanc, and that's just a perfect shot. We see right now, Garrett McIntosh, one of the rookies for the Roughnecks, is down on the floor. Didn't see what happened. It looked like it occurred after the goal went in, but Steph LeBlanc just picking the far side, and I'll tell you, they are making Mike Poulin not look like the Poulin Wall at this point. 5 goals in the first under 10 minutes.
Absolutely not, and this is a battle of the 2 top scorers from last year. NLL MVP Sean Evans for Calgary, league leading 112 points. Garrett Billings, 100 points. Both men getting on the board. Evans with a pair of assists and Billings with a goal and an assist.
Second straight year for Garrett Billings that he hit 100 points or more. That is a remarkable feat. It is hard to score 100 points in this league. I mean, these guys are very talented, but
absolutely,
you know, so many good defenders. And the other thing, so many good offensive players that the scoring is going to tend to get spread around. We've already seen LeBlanc, Doyle, Gamble,
spreading it around. Garrett McIntosh
and getting shots from all over the place.
Yeah, and Garrett McIntosh got up under his own power, limped a bit to the Calgary bench, so hopefully he's okay. Billings with another assist on LeBlanc's goal. 5:09 remaining in the first quarter. Face-off Snyder and Hoare. Whoa, and it looked like a chop block. Sailing in was Bill Greer. Looked like a linebacker in the NFL. My goodness.
It looked like he landed on Stephen Hoare. The two of them both for a second down on the floor. They both got up and made their way to the bench and look all right.
Garrett Billings on the left wing, trying to clear by Reinhold. The first-round draft pick for Calgary, 6 overall. Straight on to Poulin. Juicy rebound, though. Casey Bierns couldn't pick up the trash. Stephen LeBlanc turning up the physicality.
What a play by Garrett Billings. What a pass to skip it past the man. It looked like he was going to Bierns in the slot, and everyone was surprised when it went all the way across to LeBlanc.
There's Snyder. He'll go to the bench. He went for a jogger in the whole arena. Here's Schattler, right side. Went for the blind dish off of Damon Edwards, right back to number 45. Colin Doyle actually gained the assist instead of Billings on that last goal. Went for the one touch to the captain. Right off the backboards. Outlet pass snapped right to Carson Leung. Sent into McRae. McRae kicks it back beyond the line. And Veltman to the left wing. Calgary trying to pull to within one, and that screen, an overhand blast connects. And give it to Matthew Dinsdale for the Calgary Roughnecks, 5-3 Toronto.
Matthew Dinsdale, a guy who didn't get a lot of playing time last year after being a first-round pick, didn't really have a super successful first season, but he has looked very good in the preseason for Calgary so far. Looked like he's ready to take on a bigger role, which he'll have to with Scott Ranger out of the lineup for an indeterminate time.
That's a
and
great
they're
point.
really looking to Dinsdale to step up his game, and I think he's in good position to do it.
Well, that was an overhand, so much power. Very impressive by Dinsdale. And with that, we will have the immediate timeout with 3:40 to go in the first quarter. Toronto 5, Calgary 3. You're watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network. Back here at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, 5-3 Toronto Rock up on the Calgary Roughnecks. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. Toronto with the ball. Hellier! He was looking for number 2, got creamed on the way by. And Colin Doyle, not liking the hit, laid on the young Rob Hellier.
We saw a few seasons ago in the season opener, Colin Doyle got in a fight with Paul Dawson when he just come back to Toronto, and he once again is jumping in to stand up for a teammate early in the season.
That's what he does. The captain re-signed this offseason. So Andrew McBride, a couple of captains going toe-to-toe here. McBride for the Roughnecks, Doyle for Toronto. offsetting minors. Mike Carnegie not happy, still talking to the officials. Part of two brother combos on this Calgary team. Greg and John Harnett
on the IR right now, though, so they don't have the full complement, but Greg and John Harnett are both in the lineup.
Yeah, interesting though, a pair of brothers, family affair in Calgary.
Yeah.
Whoa, and Billings, that ball skipped away, and that was a hard snap right to the lower back of Garrett Billings, crumpled him. And things getting really chippy here as the first quarter wears down. Dan McRae will join Captain McBride in the penalty box. Unnecessary penalty.
That is a big slash from McBride.
Let's see if they show it after. They didn't, but a shot to Billings' lower back, I almost think was the more outrageous offense there, Stamper.
It's a slash that got called, though, putting the Rock back on the power play.
Billings screen set, lots of room. Bearns collected the rebound. Fresh 30 for Toronto. Back to Billings, behind the back beauty. The Hellier, top, oh, and right up the crossbar. Go right back, post to post, Poulin. He's getting hot for Calgary after a slow start.
Well, his post was getting hot there as the crossbar. Hellier rung it off the crossbar and the whole net shook. We saw a hard shot from Hellier that fought its way through before. This time, rings it off the iron.
Rob Hellier, very impressive in the early going of this 2014 season. Remember, an 18-game schedule this year, the NLL expanding, so you get an extra home game for all the fans, 9 instead of 8. Well wide, and that went off the board. We'll go back into the Calgary zone. Hold on now, here's Jesse Gamble. All alone, didn't have enough room to make a shot though. Has to wait for his helpers. Sanderson and Greer. Gamble will give the Billings and head to the bench. Go Rock, go chants echoing through the Air Canada Centre. Garrett Billings looking for a lane, blind pass. Nothing for Stephen LeBlanc. To Hellier! Try to go into the low post. A knuckler into Poulin. Had trouble finding it. Bearns couldn't jar it loose. And a long bomb in behind, beautiful take! And a save, Carson Leung was sprung. And what a long sidearm pass, almost coast to coast. Toronto coming back the other way. Here's Billings on the left wing. Marshall hustles off the floor. Toronto offense coming on.
Great outlet pass, Carson Leung with the wheels. That's one of the reasons that Calgary went to add him.
Great drafting by the Roughnecks. 8 former first-round draft picks, and hey, didn't do them any good there as Toronto gets their 6th. And that is going to come from the veteran Josh Sanderson, all 5'7" of them.
And another player getting on the board for the Rock, shooter, getting his first goal of the season, and he has made a career out of shooting it to a specific spot. It is so hard. If you watch him shoot, it is so hard to tell where he is aiming. Yep. You just don't know what he's shooting for.
Well, that's the thing with Sanderson. Not a lot of power, but a sharpshooter. Accurate. Exactly. Minute 15 remaining. Stephen LeBlanc got a helper. Calgary has had trouble trying to find any sort of momentum. Shatler and Toby, teammates colliding on that right side. Coming into the left. Dixon couldn't clear any traffic. Here's Toby all alone. Got chopped down last minute of play in the first quarter. 3 Rocks slamming Dixon. He saw nothing but white and blue. 49 seconds, some pushing, some shoving. Dixon going after Chapman. And at the other end, Colin Doyle almost scored. Poulin hugged that ball in between his right arm and his jersey. Shatler taking the outlet pass.
And Dixon, as you mentioned, getting tied up with the Rock defender, giving him a shot, and he stayed on the floor and was looking for the outlet pass, but Poulin had to dig it out of his gear, so it took away the transition chance.
23 seconds on the game clock, 13 on the shot clock. Shatler being pushed through the crease. Went for the sidearm whip. Didn't happen. Almost went to the Rock bench. 12 seconds now. 3 on the shot clock. 7 seconds. Toronto will have 6.6 seconds to try one last play before the end of the quarter. 4 seconds now. Billings aims, rears back, save, and scores! Did it count? That would have been with 0.1 seconds left. I'm sure they'll review it, Stephen, but Rob Hellier took the rebound, was on the left wing low, and buried it.
Mark Cardonio, one of the referees, is pointing to center floor, saying it's a goal.
It doesn't get any closer than that.
The long shot. Nick Rose and all the Rock had already gone to their bench. They're going to have to run back out. Hard outside shot by Billings that handcuffed Poulin a bit. Went straight to Hellier.
And they're putting 1.1 seconds back on the clock of the first quarter, and that will end it. So 7-3 Toronto after one. Rob Hellier is looking like an MVP right now. We'll step aside and come back with quarter number 2. You're watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network. Watch the NLL live on YouTube all season long and take the games wherever you go. Watch live on your smartphone, iPad, or laptop for a great home viewing experience and bring up the game on a smart TV. Visit youtube.com/TLN or NLL.com for the broadcast schedule and to watch live the National Lacrosse League on YouTube in partnership with the Lacrosse Network. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp. 7-3, the Rock up on the Calgary Roughnecks with Rob Hellier scoring with 1.1 seconds left in the first quarter, Stephen.
And Hellier in the right place at the right time and took advantage of it. That's the big thing. It's one thing to get the ball there and have the chance, but he buried it. That's a huge momentum swing for Toronto. They've had a few swings tonight and looking good after one quarter.
Toronto going from left to right on your computer screen in their white, blue, and red jerseys. Calgary, red and black. Thank you for joining us all over the world here. We are live. Have viewers in Prague, Czech Republic, Ireland, USA, Canada. You can follow us on Twitter at AndyMC81 and at StampLAX. Let us know where you're watching from here tonight.
Great pass by Greg Harnett.
Coming up. Back to the point. Diving. Whoa! And that may have hit the post. Calgary trying to come back strong. Head coach Curtis Smolowski seeing if he can get his team riled up here. Didn't find any sort of real momentum in that opening quarter.
No, they never got on an extended run in that. We talked about Calgary getting the 2 power play goals. Then the Rock came back and got the next one right away and really nipped that momentum in the bud.
Absolutely. There's Belton. Heads off to the bench. Stephen LeBlanc, who's been much more physical in this home opener for both of these clubs. Cullen Doyle has his shot swept aside easily by Mike Poulin. The goalie for Calgary, Nick Rose, in net for Toronto. Calgary waiting for the transition in the offense to come on. Sean Evans, 112 points, MVP of the league. Went post to post. Rose spun around. Did a full 360. Calgary recovered. Sean Evans, little stutter step, makes his way in. 112 points a year ago. Kick back to Doby. Doby scooting his way through, went for a sidearm screen, didn't make it through. Doby nailed afterwards by Stephen Hoare.
Hoare absolutely flattened him, got the stick up, and Doby wanted to call.
Over the top, Harnett alone, and Doby tried to hop over the crease. Nick Rose just stood up. One on the shot clock, and they get it free, and no, that'll be a 30-second violation. Toronto with possession up 7-3, 13-10 to go. And a shoulder stop by Poulin, who has looked shaky at times. Poulin battling with his own teammate. And we saw a collision as well with Doby and Schattler. The Roughnecks looking a little bit scrambly in this opening half, Stephen.
so far, and they're going to try and settle things down. They need to just get things calmed down, get the ball in the stick of their big stars, and on the defensive end, get the communication going. Little jitters in the first game of the year.
That's right. New assistant coaches and coaching staff all along, except for Pat Campbell, the goaltender coach. Curtis Dixon looking for a lane, couldn't find it, sails into the crowd. Dan Ladouceur, broadcast partner from last year here, behind the net, or behind the Rock bench, handling the defense. Blaine Manning, a Toronto Rock great on the offense, and John Lovell, of course, calling the shots in place of Troy Cordingley.
Calgary gets that ball back as it went off the leg of a Rock defender and up into the crowd.
And Calgary swung around. Jeff Shatler again. And Shatler, a couple years removed of being MVP, can be lost a little bit in when you look at all the talent on this team. Johnson sent it back, and there's Sandy Chapman, home assistant captain. 12:04 to go in the second quarter.
Pretty nice job there by Calgary, not coming off the bench early, just hustling out and not taking the penalty for too many men on the floor. It's so tempting when you see that one man breaking out.
Absolutely. McIntosh with the dish. Gives to Snyder. Best face-off man in the business, or at least one of the two. Calgary taking their time setting up, trying to get refocused and re-energized in this second quarter, trailing Toronto by 4. Whoa, and there you go. That's a way to get energized. A fist pump. Was that Veltman or Evans?
That's Darryl Veltman putting that one away.
Darryl Veltman. Now let's take a look here. A couple feet in front of the crease. Just plain old beat. Nick Rose.
We've talked about the vision that Sean Evans has there. It's Dane Doby who scored earlier, receiving the pass from Evans. This time, it's Doby hitting Veltman right in the slot, and Veltman makes no mistake. The guy who had a huge season a few years ago with the Boston Blazers, and is trying to get back into that kind of form, and they'd love to see him get some more points up there.
Dan McRae rumbling up the floor. Gets rid of it to Shatler. McRae back the other way. Snyder. McRae lost his helmet. His lid flew off. He goes to the bench. Referee will collect that.
And if there's a knock on Jeff Snyder in the game, it's probably. Oh, there's the shot.
Whoa, Snyder went 5-hole. Billings had Poulin beat. Couldn't corral the ball in time. Swinging wildly as Poulin.
And he got it. Nice play, because otherwise Garrett Billings, Casey Behrens was right on the crease waiting for that pass.
Absolutely. Reminiscent of a Dave Anderchuk type former Maple Leaf, getting those garbage goals at times, not afraid to sacrifice his body in front of the net. But one of Behrens' strength, Stephen, is his ability to come in the back door. You don't even see him and he scores. So good at that.
Best off-ball player in lacrosse, I would have to say.
I'd agree with that. Matthew Dinsdale with the dish. Watch out for Curtis Dixon, stopped by Rose. And Bill Greer taking it up for Toronto. Has to get it over center. Better hurry. Taking his time. Taking way too long. And there wasn't much time left to get that over. Colin Doyle, right wing. Pick almost set by Sanderson. Swing and a miss. Got it caught up in his own stick in the heel of it, and John Harnett was all over him. Colin Doyle behind. Sanderson only 5'7". Not too good on setting the pick. Sanderson, point blank range. Right into the chest of Poulin. 9:53 left in the second quarter. Another rebound, the captain to the weak side. Sent back to Doyle, head fake. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Stephen LeBlanc waiting, biding his time. Casey Behrens shoots and falls. That will bring us to our under 10-minute media timeout. 7-4 the score, 9:36 to go in quarter number 2. You are watching the NLL across the Lacrosse Network. NLL Radio offers the best online radio coverage of the National Lacrosse League. Listen on your smartphone. Just download the popular TuneIn Radio app and find NLL Radio. Hear the latest episode of every show anytime on your phone. For more information, visit nll.com/radio. And of course, Stephen, you got a pretty darn good show. Boxleby.
I enjoyed it.
I say so myself.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And Chris Corbeil and Brody Merrill this week, a couple of real leaders and great defensive transition players in the league. And every week we talk with some of the best in the game and get in behind the scenes.
Absolutely. I was a guest on last year. Your highest rated show, I think it was, right?
I'm sure it was. We'll have you back this year, Andy.
Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp. 7-4 the score. Toronto up on Calgary. Toronto going left to right on your screen. Sanderson on Poulin. Thanks so much for joining us. As I mentioned earlier, you can tweet in where you're watching from. Got a tweet from New Hampshire, along with Prague, Czech Republic, Ireland, Canada, U.S. You can tweet us at AndyMC81 or at StampLAX and watch, of course, live as you are on the Lacrosse Network. Toronto leading in the shot category, 23-17. Calgary, Stephen, it seems every time they look to be on some sort of roll, Toronto responds or snuffs it out.
They do. And the Rock, that's partly that veteran presence.
Yeah. Only 3 new faces, going with what brought them to the dance in 2011 and a championship. That disappointing first-round exit to the Minnesota Swarm a year ago. Jeff Schattler breaking through 2 tackles, keeping possession. Schattler waiting, and a 45-second power play still remaining for Toronto. McIntosh standing up. Garrett McIntosh in the box. Stephen LeBlanc all alone. He'll have to wait for the offense to come back onto the floor. Colin Doyle receives it. There's Billings. Billings went stick side high. Pulling there. Tor Reinhold, the rookie first-round pick for Calgary this year. 8 first-round picks of Calgary on this team. Went for a bouncer, Billings. Nice idea. Didn't connect. Doyle has a break. Went for the weak side, and breaking up that pass was Curtis Manning. Read that like a book. Well done. Carson Leung, the speedy rookie. Man, does he have wheels. Went 5-hole. Nick Rose with the stop. Reminds me a lot of Rob Hellier with that speed and his small size there, Carson Leung, Stamper.
Leung is a bit bigger, though. He's a taller guy. He'll get up the floor very quickly. He's another guy who's played offense a lot of his life. In the last year or two, has been moved over to transition with the Victoria Shamrocks in the summer. There's Jeff Snyder stripping Sanderson of the ball and getting the Roughnecks the ball back.
Yeah, 6 feet, 191 for Leung. Dancing Jeff Snyder. He raced in, tried to do it himself. Snyder, so accomplished as a face-off man that he can bury it too. Here's Jesse Gamble. He's got a goal tonight.
And there's penalties coming to the Roughnecks.
And Gamble's so tricky on the transition. Toronto adding some speed. And Ethan O'Connor, some fresh legs. Toronto, though, again, going with that veteran presence. Captain Colin Doyle behind the back, all alone. Bearns, as we mentioned, that back door sneakiness, just able to slither his way in. But Poulin was up to the task.
It looks so simple when Bearns does it.
Oh, yeah.
You wonder why everyone can't do it, and that is what makes you realize just what a gift it is to be able to find those open spots, the little openings in the seams in the defense, and get there at the right time to receive a pass.
Casey Bearns led the Rock in goals scored, 31 a year ago. And Toronto will be going on yet another power play as Mike Carnegie takes a seat for 2 or less. Toronto has a power play goal, courtesy of Colin Doyle earlier. Shorthanded one by Jesse Gamble. One for the one-time touch. Diving again. Bearns denied. Casey Bearns can't buy a break tonight. Carson Leung again. 2-on-1 and rolls with the kick stop. 6:15 to go. 7-4 Toronto.
Remember going into last year when people wondered if the Rock had the goaltending?
Yeah.
You know, if Rose was a capable starting goaltender. Certainly he's getting off to a terrific start this year after having an excellent 2013 season.
Absolutely. The question will be when it gets to the postseason, as he gets more experience, can he translate the regular season to the playoffs? He has looked sharp tonight, though. Curtis Dixon on the floor. Shot goes wide. Toronto rumbling up. Damon Edwards, the defender. Damon Edwards spinning back and waits from the slap. Billings put everything he had behind it, was blocked by Jeff Snyder.
Bill Greer looked like he had a chance to get into a 3-on-2 there, and he just peeled off and went to the bench.
Yeah, Josh Sanderson gives to the captain, Colin Doyle, on the right side, trying to creep his way in. Behind the back pass from Sanderson. Intercepted. Intended for Sanderson, actually. Jeff Snyder. It's a foot race here. Manning. Two number 10s, Hellier and Manning. Toe-to-toe. And Hellier is playing like he's 6'5" here tonight, Steven.
Gave him the shove in the back, though.
Man.
Hellier looks like he's staying out on defense as the Roughnecks hustle to get their offensive players on the floor.
Hellier, 5'8". Curtis Manning, 6'4". He's fearless. 3:24 in the Calgary penalties. Sorry, the 4-minute one too. Number 16, Mike Carnegie. So it will be a long man advantage for Toronto. And Calgary, tough to get on a roll, Stephen, when you're shorthanded this much. Calgary playing undisciplined ball early on.
Calgary has had a bit of an issue with discipline, with taking penalties over the last few years.
Alone pulling. He stepped up his play. LeBlanc recovers the rebound, though. Went to the left side, swatted away by Reinhold. The rookie going toe-to-toe with Casey Behrens. Fluffs it to Billings. Billings waits. Line pass to Doyle. Doyle unleashes a laser. 8th goal of the night for Toronto. And the captain's second. Also his second on the power play.
Almost looked like the Roughnecks were letting Doyle get that shot. Like they felt that was one that they thought Poulin could handle because they really stayed back, looking perhaps for Doyle to pass out of that situation. He saw how much open space there was and just let her fly.
And now, one goal, Stephen. One goal away for the captain, Colin Doyle, to get to 400 on his career. And that ball sails behind the rock bench into the Platinums here at the Air Canada Centre. Home opener for both these clubs.
That is a tough shot to defend. That just above thigh level.
Yeah.
For the goaltender, Mike Poulin.
And with that, we will step aside. 8-4 Toronto up on Calgary. You're watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network. It's not too late to play NLL Fantasy Lacrosse. Build a roster under the salary cap, compete against other managers, and prove you have what it takes to own the turf. Thousands of fans played last year, and there's still time to get in on the fun. Visit NLL.com/fantasy and start building your team today. Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp here at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. The Rock up 8-4 on the Calgary Roughnecks. Toronto with a 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining on a power play. 4-minute minor to double minor to Garrett McIntosh. Here's Doyle. Tipped off, still corralled in by Billings. Ran into 3 red jerseys and hustling through the crease. Sanderson still trying to keep it alive. 6 on the shot clock. Toronto have to hurry. Doyle almost had his 400th career goal right there. He's just one shy. Doyle again. He can taste it. Dish it instead to Billings. The captain having a heck of a start to 2014. 3:30 to go in the half. And Stephen LeBlanc, his second of the night. 9-3 Toronto.
Great movement by the Rock. The power play, we've talked about how potent they are. All those players who can do it. And a big play by Josh Sanderson to get the second chance opportunity, scooping up that loose ball just to the edge of the crease. That allowed that whole play to go. One bit of a break for the Roughnecks. They got past the first penalty.
Yep.
So into the final 2 minutes. So they now come back to even strength.
Absolutely. And as we get ready for the face-off, on the fantasy side of things, Stephen, we mentioned you can go to NLL.com/fantasy. We have our teams, and you finished 2 points ahead of me after week 1.
Crushed you.
Crushed. I don't know about that.
There's a big 2 points.
We got our teams. I have both of these teams, a couple players on. I have Casey Bierns and Jesse Gamble for the Rock.
I think I've got Bierns as well. I've got Matthew Dinsdale. And he's already got a goal for me, and he only cost me 5 points.
There you go. I got McRae on defense for Calgary and one other. It might be Curtis Dixon. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think I've got Dixon too. I had Darryl Veltman, and then realized I had enough points left over I could upgrade to Dixon. And
there you go.
So far, Dixon has actually been held in check pretty well by the Roughnecks.
Had some chances.
He has had some chances, but all from the outside. The one that he cut in at the last second on the shot clock, but he can explode at any moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And pass intent for Sanderson. Took a couple of hops, ended up with him. Definitely a fun game to play as LeBlanc is shoved through the crease. Poulin.
The Roughnecks getting their sticks on a lot of passes.
Yeah, whoa, and a break here. There's Snyder being muscled off by Bierns. Not enough, though. Bierns got the shoulder down. Jeff Snyder buried it. Let's have another look at this.
Yeah, that was the rookie Ethan O'Connor right here on Snyder, and Snyder just shows his power as he and O'Connor on him makes the first check and then kind of lets up just a bit. But I don't think he let up at all. He
put that shoulder down. And, Snyder just took it to him.
Yeah, and they're going to challenge that he was in the crease. Let's watch his feet. It's close. It's the right foot. The left one obviously came down in the crease after the ball had gone in, but it's the foot before that that they're questioning.
It has to be down, so we'll wait and see about that. If it does count, it would be Calgary's 5th goal.
John Lovell's first challenge.
Yeah, as the head coach.
The head coach.
Assistant with Troy Cordingley, who started in Buffalo. The Buffalo era of Troy Cordingley. They lost 17-13 to Philadelphia at home. Their first game back on December 28th. It was the parity was so incredible last year, Stephen. I expect the same thing today. Some reshuffling of divisions. Minnesota moves to the east.
Absolutely. I tell you, it's going to be a really competitive season. I think all the teams are very strong.
Can you see anything? You got the old binos out.
Got the binoculars out. I'm taking a look over the shoulder of Mark Cardonio.
We'll try to see here.
It is very close. I have a feeling this one may come back, that right foot. It's hard to tell from up here looking down to the floor level, but he's taking a good look, and certainly the right foot was very close to the line, and that's the one that came down just as he was shooting.
Calgary desperately needs this goal to try to get some sort of momentum going. Whoa! No goal. They brought it back. So take it back, Steven. You called it. So 9-4, Toronto leading in the shot category 30-22, 2:27 remaining in the opening half. Toronto last year, when leading after the first quarter, was 7-2, and when leading at half, 7-1. With much of the same club, built for a championship run, both of these teams came up short in 2013. Colin Doyle winding his way through, dropped to LeBlanc, 2 out to handle off the top of his stick, being double teamed. LeBlanc being crushed by the captain, Andrew McBride. Galloping up the floor toward Reinhold. Reinhold, the rookie. Reinhold looking for space, wisely pulls back. Tor Reinhold playing like a veteran. Hey, it looked like he was going to come back. Faked it. Trying to catch Toronto off guard there. Nice move by the first round pick.
Terrific move. Just a little surprised. Looked like he was heading to the bench. Spun around, saw the seam, and got a good shot off. Nick Rose had to be alert, which he has been all game.
Sean Evans clicks with Dixon outside the line. Snap pass to Doby. Doby looking for some sort of lane. Sean Evans. Doby not getting any help. 3 on the shot clock. Oh, Evans shoved head first into the boards. It's far enough away. Not going to get the call. Fresh 30 for the Rock.
He's certainly letting Grant Speeds know that he thinks it should have been a call.
Yeah. Colin Doyle, 1 goal shy of number 400 in his career. Casey Byrnes, Toronto's goal-scoring leader from 2013. Last minute of play in the second quarter.
Evans still up the floor being watched by Damon Edwards.
Colin Doyle behind the back. Went off the shoulder of Jeff Schneider, the Calgary defender. Now it's a 3-on-2, but Toronto quick on the transition, getting back. Nice job by Rob Hellier. And sorry, make that Kyle Belton getting back on the floor. Craig England, the newcomer. Little leapfrog over Shatler. 35 seconds left. Toronto looking for one more.
And you were right the first time. That was Hellier getting back. And, you know, Hellier, Billings, Byrnes, a lot of the guys, Josh Sanderson, have done a really good job of hustling back and playing the reverse transition.
20 seconds. LeBlanc couldn't fight his way through. Back outside the line. Kicked it to Doyle. Doyle on the right wing. Over the top. Went for the one-touch. Broken up just in time. Sean Evans crashing in. 9.5 seconds remaining. Byrnes wanting the ball to go to Toronto. And looks like Calgary will get it. They're out complaining. 9.5 seconds left to go in the half. And wait now. Well, Toronto ends up winning that argument.
And they've taken a timeout to set things up. So Nick Rose will be able to come to the bench and they'll have 9.5 seconds to try and extend this lead to 6.
Which would be huge.
Oh. You mentioned they're 7-1 after last year after leading at the half. And I'll tell you, leading at the half with a 5 or 6 goal lead, I bet that number is pretty high as well.
Well, with the way Nick Rose is playing, nice to see Mike Poulin settle down after some early jitters to help to get Calgary into that hole, but he's been dynamite in this second quarter.
I'm not feeling too good right now about having the Calgary goaltenders as my fantasy goal.
Oh, I've Colorado.
So you get to wait and see. That's not a bad pick because Dylan Ward came in and played very well last week.
Yeah.
Only gave up 2 goals on 12 shots.
16.5 too only.
Yeah, I would think he would get the start tomorrow night.
Here's hoping. I gotta overtake you in the standings.
Never happened.
9 seconds to go in the half. Stephen Hoare being double teamed. The beginning of the third quarter. Stephen and I will break down the first half and set you up for the third quarter. Another timeout called.
Calgary taking this one as they got possession of the ball. A bit of an odd one, the Rock taking that shot right away when play was whistled back in with not really anybody there to help out. Looks a little bit like they weren't entirely sure what they wanted to do, even though they just took the time out to set it up.
See Dan Ladouceur, defensive assistant coach for the Toronto Rock, telling his troops what he thinks.
You know, first game of the year, I'm not sure what happened there with that setup, but I'm sure things feel very fast for the players.
Yeah.
It's going so fast for us. I'm sure for the coaches, especially first-time coaches.
Sure.
They must feel a lot of excitement and pressure.
A lot of butterflies.
Happening very quickly out there.
Now they're into it. We talked about Colin Doyle needing now 1 goal for a career 400. Jeff Snyder with his goal needs just 4 to reach 100 in his NLL career. 4 seconds left. Rushing up the floor, went for the one-touch, broken up nicely by Hoare, tangling up his man in the half, comes to an end. Sean Evans was smothered by Stephen Hoare.
And Evans really arguing there, not too vociferously, but definitely saying he thinks he was held, and I think he's got a pretty good case on that one. The other one, whether he got the shove or not, but this one, Hoare definitely had both hands off one hand off his stick and seemed to just have the bear hug on Evans in that case.
Absolutely. So, with that, we'll take a break. Come back with 2 or 3 minutes before the start of the third quarter. Toronto Rock leads the Calgary Roughnecks 9-4. You're watching the NLL all across the Lacrosse Network. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp at the half. The Toronto Rock lead the Calgary Roughnecks 9-4. Home opener for both of these clubs. The third quarter is just 39 seconds away, and we remind you, this copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League. Great game so far, Stamper. Calgary having struggles getting on any sort of roll, but they have had some upside after some early jitters. Mike Poulin's really made some impressive saves.
Poulin looked very good in the second quarter, but except maybe for the final shot there that he gave up the big rebound, a little bit of a rough one. But the Rock doing a good job defensively, really limiting Calgary's opportunities. We haven't seen a lot of great looks from the Roughnecks. Curtis Dixon hasn't really been a big factor. Sean Evans has a few assists. He set up Dane Doby for a couple of goals. But really, Calgary hasn't looked that dangerous offensively for most of the night. And when they have had some chances, Nick Rose has been equal to the task.
Absolutely. Right off the bat, Jesse Gamble of the Toronto Rock. Breakaway, scores! Whoa! And Jesse Gamble at the 10th, right off of the draw, picks up his second of the night. Jesse Gamble, the speedy transition player, gets Toronto back on the board with 10 seconds gone in the third quarter.
And the challenge flag is out on the floor already, so Mark Gardonio will return.
You got the first one right, Stephen. Grabbing the binos.
For two.
In case you've forgotten, the Toronto Rock are in their home white, blue, and red jerseys. The Calgary Roughnecks in their sharp red and black uniforms. Goal will be reviewed. We'll see if we can get it up on the screen. Stephen Stamp has his trusty binoculars trying to see. From our vantage point, we can see what the referees are looking at. As Jesse Gamble hustles
now
through.
we're having a really good shot of it. We're going to see. It looks like it's the right foot that comes down.
Before the ball?
Well, he's just taking it. Left foot on the line, no goal.
Will be no goal, says our resident bird watcher, Stephen Stamp.
I tell you, these binoculars help out a lot. We're well above the ground.
That's right.
The floor of the Air Canada Centre here.
Yes, right in the Foster Hewitt gondola. Best seat in the house.
Fantastic. Thanks once again, everyone, for being with us here on the Lacrosse Network. As we mentioned, fans in Czech Republic, all over North America, in the United Kingdom.
That's right.
Very exciting to have you all along with us. We are thrilled to be bringing you this NLL game, and
a lot of fun.
What a difference! I mean, coming out of the half, Toronto with the 5-goal lead. We talked about, they got the goal right at the end of the half there. Can they get one, or right at the end of the quarter? Can they get one coming out to start the second half? And it looks to me like his foot was on the line. I don't think it's going to be a goal, but if it is, what a huge start to the second half.
Let's see. No goal. So take it away. 2 for 2 is Stephen Stamp. So take the goal away from Jesse Gamble. Remains 9-4. In the first half, the most dominant goal scorer for the Roughnecks was Dane Doby, and both of his scores came on the power play. So that's something to keep in mind for Calgary. If they can draw any penalties, get the ball in the number 44's hands. He has been dynamite tonight. Other goal scorers, Jeff Snyder and Matthew Dinsdale. Right on Nick Rose. Stop. Can't get the rebound, Shatler.
A big difference, 13 minutes and penalties for the Roughnecks so far, including the major to Mike Carnegie. Just 6 minutes and penalties, 3 minors for the Rock so far.
Absolutely. Rob Hellier, young number 10, left wing, pops it back into the neutral zone for Garrett Billings. Waits for his offense to come on the floor. Casey Behrens, keep an eye on him back door. Hellier circling, back to the neutral zone, kicks it to the right wing. LeBlanc making his move to the low post over to Hellier. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Garrett Billings waits, jukes, moves, and stone cold by Poulin. And it would have been a crease violation anyway.
Well, I mean, the crease violation call is afterwards when he cut through the crease, so he couldn't pick the ball up and it bounced off him. So it is Calgary ball. Billings, a goal and 6 assists, a very quiet 7-point half.
Absolutely.
For Garrett Billings.
Jeff Snyder, if he gets 4 more goals tonight, he will reach 100 for his career. He's got 1. Swing and a miss. Falling hard, Darryl Veltman. And a dish to the rookie, Ethan O'Connor. O'Connor alone. And what a kick save by Poulin. Poulin comes up big time. That could have been a backbreaker. Toronto still leading 9-4. Calgary catching a break. Jesse Gamble's goal called back. He popped that by Poulin the opening 10 seconds. There's Jeff Schattler stepping inside the line. Scoots his way back, and it's done with 8 seconds in the clock. Not sure if he was looking for anybody, but over the top, right into the chest of Craig England. Sent to the corner. Will be a 30-second violation. Rock ball.
The Roughneck offense still just not seeming to click, just not finding themselves each other. You know, they had such success in the preseason, and then they get into the regular season and just not seeming to find each other on the floor.
Absolutely. Sean Evans held off from being a goal scorer, but does have a pair of helpers. Alone, and a toe stop by Nick Rose. Carson Leung, the rookie, and this Carson Leung has really impressed me tonight, Stephen. He has been all over the floor. Crease violation gives Toronto the ball back, but man, he just zips around there, doesn't he?
Really showed that in the summer with Victoria. Great sense of when to take off. Having the speed is one thing, knowing when to go is an entirely different one. He's got both.
Pass outside the line, finds Hellier. The left looking for a lane. Billings all alone. Went for the backhand. And Poulin standing up again. He's been tremendous since the second quarter. Now it's up to Calgary's offense to bail out their goaltender. Garrett Billings, one-handed. Point blank range and buries it. Josh Sanderson with the foot fist pump. Put the bouncer right by Mike Poulin.
And
10 for Toronto.
You know, you talked about how Poulin hasn't had a lot of support from his defenders tonight. They've just been giving these Toronto far more open looks than you'd expect from a Calgary team. Although, you know, last year the Roughnecks gave up the most goals in the league. In the National Lacrosse League. A bit of a surprise, considering they'd been so stingy defensively for the years before that. But in this case, they're just giving open looks, and Josh Sanderson, you can't let him shoot from that spot.
No, absolutely not. 11:54 to go in the third quarter. 10-4 Toronto up on Calgary. Shots 36-25 in favor of the home team. And right by Poulin, he got spun all around. Didn't know where the ball was. Loose ball scramble. Gobbled up by John Harnett. Over the top, just too far for Curtis Manning. There's Kyle Belton. Kyle Belton getting hacked. He goes down. Manning coming right back. And that's going to be Calgary ball. Belton was just chopped down like a tree.
And then the call is Belton gave a bit of a shove in the back to Manning, and that's what turned the ball over on the Lucy.
11:10 to go in the third quarter. Jeff Schattler to the weak side, just inside the line. He's trying to move to the high post. Gets pushed back by Belton. Schattler now so dangerous. MVP from 2 seasons ago. Schattler, how did that get in? Wow, what a gorgeous goal by Jeff Schattler. A blind, take a look. This is gorgeous.
This is a beauty, and I'll tell you, they had a lot of traffic running through the middle, drawing away defenders by the Rock, drawing away the Rock defenders, and letting Schattler just go one-on-one, and he is so dangerous when you can isolate him, and he showed you there the little spin shot and buries it, and that's a big one for some momentum.
Absolutely, and that is the 5th goal. Jeff Schattler, his first. And that could make it to a SportsCenter highlight. That was tremendous. It's just one of those goals, Steven, you just want to stop and enjoy.
It is a beauty, and very much an individual effort in terms of him making that play, making that move, but you got to give credit to the rest of his teammates cutting in, working hard to create some open space for him.
Absolutely. Schattler, Toronto native as well. 6 feet, 185.
He's a strong man at 6 foot 185.
And if the Roughnecks can get organized, they are a team with the offensive power that can get on a run big time.
Oh, Jared, they can make up 5 goals.
Rob Hellier went top shelf over the head of Mike Poulin.
Penalty coming to the Roughnecks, and Rose is on the bench for the extra attacker.
6 men up for Toronto. Craig England trying to create some space. Josh Sanderson over the captain in the low slot. And the whistle blows. And let's see who's going to go to the sin bin here.
Busted.
Dane Dobie. He has 2 power play goals tonight. So Toronto will go on another power play. Colin Doyle. Both his scores came via the man advantage.
And Dobie, that's one thing that people have noticed. He does tend to yap at the officials. In this case, it costs him. And just as the Roughnecks, created a good chance on the other end, got the goal, get a little momentum, and now they kick this penalty. Very inopportune time.
That's what we've been talking about for the Roughnecks. Been struggling to get anything going on a consistent basis. And Dane Dobie, one of their better players. Unsportsmanlike conduct, the call. Colin Doyle, just one score shy of 400 in his career. Keep an eye on the captain, number 7. Jeff Shatler spins around again, and Shatler beats Nick Rose near side, and it just froze the Toronto goaltender.
Almost a carbon copy, just a man-on-man and a shorthanded goal. What a way to get the momentum back. As you can see, he spins. The last one kind of got it down sidearm. This one he manages to get right up over the top, shooting it over the shoulder of the defender, and just bounces it through past Rose on the short side once again.
Well, we just talked about it. Calgary can be a team of runs. And we noticed last year, too, Stephen, teams, Nick Rose at times goes in spurts where he lets up goals in similar spots. There was, I believe it was a stick side shoulder a few times last year for a couple games. He did fix it. In this game, it's been that left foot on the past 2 Shatler goals.
Both of them on the near side. You never want to give that goal up on the near side, but Shatler spinning must have looked like he was going over to the far side and drew them back in towards him.
And 51 seconds. That was a short-handed goal, of course, by Jeff Shatler. Dobie with 46 seconds left to serve in the box. So Toronto had a short-hander from Jesse Gamble. Shatler responds with a goal being down to man himself. Under 9 minutes left in the third quarter.
It's a very different type of short-handed goal, though. The one-on-one here is they're set up instead of the breakout.
Absolutely. 39-27 shots favoring the home Toronto Rock. Calgary going from left to right on your screen. Kick save. And you see Calgary trying to focus on that left low side. Rose coming up with it there. 13 seconds left to serve for Dobie. An ineffective power play for the Rock. Billings blind pass to Colin Doyle. Went top shelf. On the far side, missed. It'll be over and back Calgary ball.
And Dane Dobie immediately jumps onto the floor and is ready to go, but we're going to have our media break.
That's right, and with that, the score 10-6. Calgary is marching. Toronto Rock lead. You are watching the NLL across the Lacrosse Network. Get some new team gear for the season by visiting the NLL shop online. Go to shop.nll.com for the best prices and selection on clothing and accessories for all 9 teams. With flat rate shipping and no hassle returns, the NLL shop is the place for all things NLL. Visit shop.nll.com today, powered by Fanatics. Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp here at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. The Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks 10-6. Back-to-back goals by the Roughnecks, both by Jeff Shatler, the last one being short-handed. 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Loose ball scramble. Sandy Chapman, the assistant captain for home games this season for Toronto, picked up the Lucy. Chapman will cycle back and head off.
Scott Johnson taking a shift up in the offensive zone.
Scott Johnson trying to add some muscle here, get things back on track. Stephen LeBlanc pushed to the perimeter. Sanderson waits, underneath Johnson. He stopped right outside the crease and waited. Poulin gobbled it up. Long bomb, and Sanderson getting back on defense, taking away a sure goal from Curtis Dixon. And we mentioned the power of this Roughnecks offense. It can jump up at any time. Penalties have derailed them on a few occasions. They have back-to-back and not anymore. Stefan LeBlanc nabs his third, give him the hat trick. Stefan LeBlanc much more physical in game number 1 than we've seen in seasons past, Stephen.
Yeah, and LeBlanc playing very well, just kind of muscles past his defender there, gets a little bit of open space, goes over to the far side. You know, once again, a little bit of a breakdown for the Roughnecks, and such a big turnaround. People talked about the need for this Toronto club to add more speed. They had to be faster. Well, Josh Sanderson just hustled his way back down to take away a scoring chance for Curtis Dixon on that long breakout pass, and that led directly to the opportunity to come in the other way.
Absolutely. 58 points for Stefan LeBlanc in 2013. Just under 7 minutes remain in the third frame. 11-6 Toronto. There's Kyle Belton. Garrett Billings couldn't find a lane, waiting for help, being hacked to bits. Greg Harnett all over number 13, back-to-back 100-point seasons for Garrett Billings. Over the top of his stick, and in front of the Calgary bench, nearly an over and back. Colin Doyle. Snyder with the toss, he'll head to the bench. Calgary offense on the floor. Going from left to right on your screen. Here on the Lacrosse Network, Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. 43-31 shots in favor of Toronto.
Moving pick on Curtis Dixon, who's going to turn the ball over.
And that will bring us to our media timeout with 4 minutes, 44 seconds to go. We'll step aside. Toronto leads Calgary 11-6. You are watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network.
On over there immediately following tonight's game, and remember, you need your tickets.
Tomorrow night, watch NLL Lacrosse live on TSN2 as the Vancouver Stealth face the Colorado Mammoth at 9 Eastern. Fans in the U.S. can watch that game live on ESPN3. Go to NLL.com/ESPN for the ESPN3 media player. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. 11-6 the score. Toronto Rock up on the Calgary Roughnecks. 4:30 left in the third quarter. Toronto with the ball in their white and blue and red uniforms, Calgary, in their red and black jerseys. Ball going out of play.
It away out into the penalty box area. It's just been kind of one of those nights so far for the Roughnecks.
Absolutely, it's been a tough one. Just when you think they're going to get on some sort of roll, something happens, a penalty or a Toronto goal. Stefan LeBlanc has been much more physical in game 1 than in seasons past. Stefan LeBlanc cleared the track, and Rob Hellier buries number 3, the hat trick.
whipped it right by Poulin. Toronto doubling up Calgary 12-6.
Rob Hellier challenged this year as the shorter rosters. The Rock released a few veteran offensive players that had Blaine Manning retire, so there's a bit more pressure on him to step up. He is doing it big time tonight with a hat trick, and he has shown that he can really rip the ball and do it accurately.
Absolutely. His third.
You see the pass
very good
across, and he just gets away. A little bit of a pick by Casey Behrens on Curtis Manning to open up the space for Hellier. Great teamwork.
Jesse Gamble, 4-on-4. Snyder, number 4 on Gamble, number 4. Ball spanked loose. Chapman getting in front of the Calgary bench. Chapman being manhandled in a sea of red. Ball going into the Roughnecks bench area and pushing and shoving.
Stephen Hoare runs in to back up his man, takes a shot at Snyder. I think it was Mike Carnegie actually that hit Gamble as he was along the boards. You can see Greg Harnett ripping the helmet off of Jesse Gamble. Grant Spees is right there watching it. We'll see if he gets a penalty for that. Jesse Gamble is certainly saying it should be. Hoare having some words for Jeff Snyder. He'll head back to his bench.
Absolutely. Yeah, some words being exchanged. Jesse Gamble having his say, then stepping away.
It's going to be Calgary ball, it looks like. And no penalties called out of that. The penalty box was opened up. Roger Nurse came out, the third official, to check out on things, but he'll just head back, and we're back underway.
3:34 left in this third quarter, and a penalty coming up. Poulin rushing to the Calgary bench. Extra attacker on for the Roughnecks. There's Dane Doby, crisply snapped to that left side. Picked up and knocked out of play by Belton. Daryl Veltman was trying for more. And Sean Evans, winding, waiting. Shatler can't find any opening. Shatler now moving to the right side from the center. Shatler still in the perimeter. 13 on the shot clock, in behind the net. Craig England slamming his man. Craig England stepping almost on Curtis Dixon there.
Just to clarify, there was no penalty on that play. It was they were sending Poulin to the bench for the sneaky 6-on-5.
Ah, there you go. Back 5-on-5 Poulin on the bench. Stephen LeBlanc in front. A little stutter step. Stephen LeBlanc kicked it right back. Might have thought better of taking the shot himself. Intended for Garrett Billings. The captain, Andrew McBride, heads to the bench. A physical force for sure for Calgary. Greg Harnett outside the line. Sent to the left wing. Pick being set there by Reinhold. Sent back, Reinhold was looking for Dinsdale. Dinsdale, nice little game. He's had only one goal, but he's been a factor all night. Dinsdale went 5-hole on Rose, and he stopped him. The rookie, Ethan O'Connor, has had a rough go of it tonight. Trying to make up for it here. Ethan Connor turning on the Jets. Sent back to Hellier. Hellier slowing things down, and O'Connor will go to the Toronto sideline. Here's
now
Billings.
there is a penalty coming to the Roughnecks.
Extra man on for Toronto. Billings directing traffic as he shuffles his way in. Blind pass to Sanderson. Put to the weak slot over the head of the captain. As Colin Doyle fired it by Poulin.
Holding call against Calgary. And on that last offensive shift, very interesting to see the rookie transition players, Tor Reinhold and Garrett McIntosh, both on the floor, along with the second-year man, Matthew Dinsdale. You wonder if Kurt Milosky trying to send a message to his troops. If you guys aren't going to get it done, I'm going to send out some other guys to give them a chance.
Well, that's it. With the shortened benches, the 16 runners, a lot more, even more than usual, Stamper has to be put on conditioning. This is a fast-paced game, and it cannot be overstated in how good condition these players are in all over the league. Ball bouncing in behind Poulin. Minute 44 on the penalty to McIntosh. And there's Tor Reinhold, the rookie. It's from Coquitlam, BC, Reinhold is.
One of many players who played some of their junior lacrosse for Kurt Milosky when he ended the Adanacs.
Great program out there. Calgary in the neutral zone, 8 on the shot clock. That's fine, they just want to eat up time anyway. Reinhold waiting, 2 seconds left. Took their shot, and now Toronto will start their power play. A minute 12 left in the minor to McIntosh. Ford dishes and heads up. There's Sanderson. Billings moves to the left. LeBlanc to the right, decides on Billings. Back to the point. LeBlanc, Sanderson again. Rocker in motion off the top of the stick of Billings. Sanderson, nice behind the back pass. Doyle looking for number 400 of the career. Denied by Poulin. A fresh 30 on the clock for Toronto. Billings waits. Bjorn's trying to set a pick. Dancing around the front of the crease, moves back. Shot blocked by Snyder. Poulin with the outlet pass. 30 seconds to go on the power play for Toronto. There's John Harnett. Great Billings, and is that too many men?
Too many men on the Toronto Rock, so Calgary couldn't create a scoring chance. Just 0.4 of a second left on the clock in the third quarter, but they did manage to push the ball up the floor and draw that penalty, so they'll have the edge as they come out in the fourth quarter.
That's right. Still lots of lacrosse to go, and as we mentioned, although Toronto is up by 6 goals, this Calgary team, you can run up and down the lineup with scoring potential. Sean Evans, MVP and league-leading goal scorer from a year ago. Dane Doby, Shatler, Dixon. It's a deep lineup. So we'll be at even strength for 25 seconds, and the Calgary Roughnecks will go on the power play. 0.4 seconds. The third quarter will come to an end. Leading after 3, Toronto was 8-2 in 2013.
Ethan O'Connor, the in-home player for Toronto, will go and serve that penalty.
Oh, they upped it to 1.1 seconds left. Didn't make much of a difference. That'll be it for the third. We'll take the break, come back with the final quarter. Toronto 12, Calgary 6. You're watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network. Watch the NLL live on YouTube all season long and take the games wherever you go. Watch live on your smartphone, iPad, or laptop. For a great home viewing experience, bring up the game on a smart TV. Visit youtube.com/TLN or NLL.com for the broadcast schedule and to watch live. The National Lacrosse League on YouTube in partnership with the Lacrosse Network. Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp here at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. The fourth quarter, moments away. The Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks 12-6 in both of these clubs' home openers. Each won their respective divisions a year ago. Toronto the East, Calgary the West. And the face-off right here, Jeff Snyder the draw specialist, taking out Stephen Hoare. Calgary in their smart red and black uniforms. Toronto, white, blue, and red. Calgary here will be 4-on-4 for another 9 seconds. Then the Roughnecks will go on a power play. That came from Toronto's too many men call when they were up with the man advantage. Sean Evans has been held in check for most of this game. A few helpers, that's it, point blank range. Rose stands tall and Chapman dives on the ball. There's Jesse Gamble strutting over center, now in the neutral zone. To the left wing to Garrett Billings. Stephen LeBlanc backpedaling to set up the offense for Toronto. Sanderson tries to set the pick. Billings eating up time as it is a minute and 8 seconds that Toronto will be shorthanded. Stephen LeBlanc had his stick. Well, knocked the stick away rather of Greg Harnett. Harnett wanted the call. 47-34 shots in favor of Toronto.
Toronto with a lot more shots and certainly more good scoring opportunities. Mike Poulin has had to be good to keep them down to 12 to this point.
Absolutely. Over the top shot through a screen. That was through a lot of traffic. Curtis Dixon. You want to talk about an underrated, dangerous player, number 17 for the Roughnecks. He is dynamite.
I'm not sure I'd say he's underrated, but he's certainly
dangerous. And a bouncer! Jeff Shatler. And
puts
the Roughnecks up.
Once again, Sean Evans with the perfect pass just at the right time. He saw the defender creeping up a little bit. Evans just a bit of a look to the high player there up top, and that gave him just enough space to get it through the diagonal, the lateral passing lane over to Shatler, who made no mistake.
Well, Shatler second in team scoring for Calgary last year, overshadowed by Sean Evans' tremendous 112-point season. Had 33 goals, 41 assists for 74 points himself. And Calgary, still plenty of time to make a move here. And Stamper with Dixon, underrated. I guess I meant on the team at times with all the talent, can sometimes get overshadowed.
Yeah.
Jesse Gamble gives to Billings. Now he has some space. Billings made a nice swim move, decided to kick back to the captain, Colin Doyle. He's backpedaling. LeBlanc on the right wing receives. LeBlanc, went to the weak side. Garrett Billings, too hot to handle. Pick it up as it ricocheted off the glass. There's Billings in the slot. LeBlanc, one-timer, scores! Stephen LeBlanc leaping and burying it off the bounce. That's Mike Poulin, 13-7 Toronto.
Once again, a goal by the Roughnecks, a positive move by the Roughnecks, and the white-clad Toronto Rock come right back and answer it. You're going to see LeBlanc, and I think Bruce Codd and Kurt Malosky will not be happy about this because there's about 4 Calgary players surrounding LeBlanc, and somehow he's able to receive that pass and get the shot off. You'll see here all kinds of red sweaters, and LeBlanc is just untouched as he steps out there. And that's just a defensive breakdown.
Absolutely. Stephen LeBlanc's 4th of the season. He is off to a really hot start. And Stephen, I've said it before and I'll say it again in this broadcast. Stephen LeBlanc looks like a different player right now. He is playing a much more physical game.
And there's Shatler with his 4th.
Yes, and Shatler. That is going to count. Yes, his 8th.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he pointed to the crease for a moment there. Have a look here. Shatler. Wow. You can't let Jeff Shatler alone.
No.
Like that. There was no body on him.
Yeah, they're just a little bit slow getting over to him, and he is a dangerous man. It's interesting there. You said it looked like he pointed to the crease for a second. I think they were looking pretty carefully at Curtis Dixon down along the other side, who was very close to the crease, but managed to stay just outside, and Shatler puts his 4th in.
So exchanging goals. Calgary, Toronto. Calgary over the head of Doby. Was a pair of scores tonight. Sean Evans, and that's a guy who can light it up. Went for the underhand and handcuffed Rose. Was down on his knees and was able to stand up in time to shrug it. Damon Edwards hauled down.
Well, he was shooting hard low. It went off of Ethan O'Connor and bounced and kind of took a hop up, almost went over his shoulder. Rose had to be quick to recover.
Nice eye, Damon Edwards. Thread the needle on the pass to Billings, and the hop, Josh Sanderson almost lost it to Carnegie. Garrett Billings making his move, centering up. Put back sidearm through a screen. Poulin stops. Under 12 minutes remaining in the 4th. Calgary trails by 5 toward 1. Went stick side low.
That's a great save by Nick Rose. Leung looked off the shooter, takes the shot, but they will get the ball back.
Carson Leung has been dynamite tonight. It hasn't shown up on the score sheet, but man, he is buzzing all over the floor.
Yeah, terrific.
That was a great pickup.
Did have a Twitter follower asking us where's Scott Ranger tonight. He is on the physically unable to perform list as Rose makes the outside save. He had some health issues coming out of the summer,
right.
So he will not be with the club for a while. We're not sure at this point when he'll return.
And you can follow us on Twitter, myself at AndyMC81 and Steven at StampLAX. Keep you up to date. Ask any questions mid-game. We'll try to get to them for sure. And if not, we'll try to tell you after. Colin Doyle with the spin move. Doyle, the captain. His 400th of his career denied. And looking for his third of the game.
Nice little scoop by Rob Hellier. He just flipped that ball, the loose ball, back out to Josh Sanderson. Hellier having a very solid, very mature game tonight.
Absolutely. Talk about Stephen LeBlanc. Look like a different player. Hellier as well. Curtis Manning with a spinneroonie to corral that ball. Back pedals in the lane alone and just ran out of real estate to Curtis Dixon. Damon Edwards all over him. So the dangerous forward couldn't get three. Jeff Snyder scooping it to keep the ball in Calgary's possession. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Sean Evans stutter step over the shoulder of Craig England. Long looping rainbow outlet pass to England off the heel of his stick. Calgary at the turnover. An odd man rush. And Toronto getting back. With the dish to Evans, has a lane and scores! 5-hole, Sean Evans with a fist pump. You cannot keep Sean Evans down all game long, and he proves it right there. Cashes in on that break.
Just a beautiful play by, trying to check, I think it's John Harnett that made that pass back, drew the defender over, flipped it over to Evans. Good sight by the defensive player Harnett to catch Evans, and he just ripped one 5-hole on Nick Rose. And don't look now, but it's 4 goals with over 10 minutes to go. This one's not over.
Absolutely not. As we mentioned, this Calgary team has the firepower, and with the face-off specialist of Jeff Snyder, who almost turned it over after winning the draw.
Got a big break there. The ball kind of stuck in his stick, but went straight to Mike Carnegie when he was aiming to another defender.
Makes such a difference when you have a guy like Jeff Snyder who can get you win you so many draws and get you that first possession. So important. 235 loose balls. Whoa! Curtis Dixon, don't look now. The Roughnecks are rolling. Have a look with Dixon, that beautiful swim move on Rose.
That's just a great one-on-one play. So hard to cover him. He spins away from Stephen Hoare, gets it up over the shoulder of Nick Rose. And as you said, the Roughnecks pull within 3, and they've got some momentum, and they are starting to feel more like the Roughnecks of old.
First time in this game, I'd say, Stephen, that the Roughnecks have a sustained amount of momentum. Now 7 different goal scores for Calgary.
Great hustle off the face-off by Andrew McBride to get that ball back, and once again, Roughnecks possession.
Kurt Malosky, head coach of the Calgary Roughnecks, his second year, has to be pleased now. They looked out of sync of sorts for most of this game, but coming on strong. And with just over 9 minutes left in the game, still anyone's match. The home opener.
Here's the
long
breakaway.
feed. Wait, stop Poulin. There's the Poulin wall. Stone Edwards, who was all alone. That quick pass by Jesse Gamble. Sean Evans again. Leung sets the pick. Evans takes his time, gets to Shatler. Shatler with some space behind the back, off the toe of Rosie. The ball trickled away. Chapman with a long loop. England in the neutral zone. Over the top of Billings. LeBlanc on the underhand, put a little bit too much oomph on it. Calgary looks totally re-energized right now. Curtis Manning hustling down the floor. There's Evans again, loop pass, and Dixon from up top. Good job by the Toronto defender getting back.
And that little bounce to Curtis Manning, them getting the ball back, is the kind of thing that just has not been happening for Calgary all night until the last 5 minutes.
6 seconds on the shot clock. Calgary going to have to hurry. Manhandled by Edwards. Doby looking for space again, diving, leaping, and it's going to be a crease. No goal. At 8:05. A wild fourth quarter so far. Calgary storming back. We will step aside for the break. Don't go anywhere. Toronto leading Calgary 13-10. You are watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network. NLL Radio offers the best online radio coverage of the National Lacrosse League. Listen on your smartphone. Just download the popular TuneIn Radio app and find NLL Radio. Hear the latest episode of every show anytime on your phone. For more information, visit NLL.com/radio. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. 13-10 Toronto Rock up on the Calgary Roughnecks, and on NLL Radio, of course, you can hear Stamper, your own show, Boxleby.
And I'll tell you, if there's somebody you want to hear, if there's somebody you would like to hear an in-depth conversation with, just send me a tweet or an email, stamplax@hotmail.com or @stamplax, and let me know. I would love to get somebody on for you.
Oh, it's flooding in to want to hear Andy McNamara. Whoa, Jesus, how embarrassing.
Never actually had anybody request you, Andy.
Well, except for me.
Except for you, repeatedly.
Listen, Andy equals golden ratings, baby, I'm telling you. 13-10 Toronto Rock up on the Calgary Roughnecks. 7:35 to go in the fourth. The Roughnecks have stormed back the first momentum they've had in this game, and they just look totally re-energized and a fresh step on them.
And Dane Dobie was signaling after that diving effort at the just before the break that was a good goal, but the Roughnecks had challenged the Jesse Gamble goal, had it reversed just at the beginning of this second half, so they didn't have another challenge.
Roughnecks with possession there, and Nick Rose goes all out with the kick save to keep this a 3-goal game. Shots 51-44 in favor of the home team. Toronto going from left to right on your screen.
Sorry, Matthew Dinsdale aiming for that spot where they'd beaten him a couple times earlier, and Nick Rose equal to the task. That was a big one.
Ball in the neutral zone. Stephen LeBlanc gobbling it up so it doesn't turn into an over and back. Stephen LeBlanc backpedaling. There's Casey Behrens, who's been held in check tonight. Not good for my fantasy team. Behrens is manhandled. Penalty coming up to Calgary. And that's going to go, I believe, to Mike Carnegie.
That's a tough one. Just 6.5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter, and the Rock putting some pressure on and forcing that.
Yeah,
he gets the stick off the hand off the stick, and tried to let go, tried to pull back. I don't think he agrees with the call, but just was.
Few players do.
No
one's ever wrong.
Seldom they say, yeah, that's a good point.
Oh yeah,
oh, ref.
Great point. I'll sit down and think of what I did. Colin Doyle receives from Stephen LeBlanc. Doyle and LeBlanc playing catch. Now to the left side. Billings back. LeBlanc bouncing off the crossbar. LeBlanc had Poulin beat. Number 17 already has 4 tonight, looking for 5. With one more goal, Colin Doyle will reach 400 of his career. Stephen LeBlanc creeping in. Minute 30 left on the power play. And back. Poulin off the post again. Poulin was beat twice and saved by Steele.
Billings can't believe it, looking to the skies when he missed the wide open cage.
Colin Doyle with a bouncer. If Calgary can kill this penalty, that would further their momentum in this fourth quarter. Roughnecks have been dominating. Sanderson. From the slot, Sanderson went 5-hole and Poulin saw just enough. Hail Mary pass, intercepted almost, at least knocked down. Curtis Manning in a fight here with Scott Johnson toe-to-toe. That loose ball is still loose in the near corner. 5:23 left. That was a battle.
Pushing the back called, and it'll be rock ball.
43 seconds left to kill for the Calgary Roughnecks. Lots of time left for Calgary. 30 seconds left. Toronto taking their time, setting up. Now cycling the ball. Billings switches positions. Pick set by Hellier. Over to Doyle. Doyle sidearm whip. And Poulin squeezing the pads. 15 seconds with the man advantage left for Toronto.
Poulin, ever since that first quarter when he did get lit up a bit, really seems to be seeing the ball well tonight.
Absolutely, and especially in that third quarter. How big now is that Jesse Gamble goal that was called back? Penalty has expired. We are back to even strength. Carnegie heads to the bench. In his place, Sean Evans. Underhand loop, well off the mark. Shatler, and getting around. Whoa, and that's close. Very close. Carson Leung has had a couple of goals stolen from him tonight. You just get the feeling he's due.
It looked like Grant Spees was saying he actually went through the crease to get that ball, to cut to position to get that ball.
5-on-5 once again. Stefan LeBlanc on the right wing, looking for the swim move, being forced back, didn't get through. Tried to throw the knee to Hellier. No good. Toronto picks it up, though. There's Billings. Billings outside the crease. Now Bearns back door. Bearns! Loose cannot get it in time, and Toronto will have to reset, and they won't get a chance to. Shot clock violation. Oh, they are getting a fresh 30.
Yeah,
the last moment.
And I'll tell you, Jeff Snyder just absolutely two-handed Josh Sanderson in the back of the leg, and you can see Sanderson kind of grabbing where he took the shot.
Yeah, no leg pads, folks. These are really, really tough players. And those shots hurt. Garrett Billings backing his way through, being double teamed. Out past the line to Sanderson, one touch, and scores! Casey Bearns gets on the board, his first of the night, and a huge 14th goal for Toronto.
Great play by Bearns to take that pass and bury it, to sneak it by. And I'll tell you, the one factor you've got to keep in mind, the 16 runners, the rosters are shorter. It kind of tires everybody out through the course of a game, and the Roughnecks have taken quite a few penalties. That puts the penalty killers out there, spending a lot of time working very hard, trying to play defense. And you can see just maybe a half a step slow there. This is going to be a nice little pass back out by Billings, and a great pass by Josh Sanderson to find Bearns at the right time. But Calgary comes right back away. Jeff Snyder.
There you go. Jeff Snyder, his second of the night. Now just 3 goals away from 100 on his career. Jeff Snyder, we talk so much about how successful he is as a face-off man, but he's got some soft hands from time to time when given the opportunity. So Snyder gets right back, and the Roughnecks say, we're not done yet. A 3-goal differential once more in favor of the Rock. This season opener for both these clubs. Calgary in action next January 10 at home versus Colorado. Toronto's next action also on January the 10th in Buffalo to take on the Bandits and former head coach Troy Cordingley. That'll be a good one.
Andrew McBride is questioning whether the Roughnecks actually had possession there and whether it should be an 8-second violation before they got it over mid-floor.
With that, we'll take the break. 14-11 Rock versus Roughnecks. You're watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network.
This is the only game on the NLL schedule tonight. Action continues tomorrow night when the Vancouver South take on the Colorado Mammoth at 9 Eastern. Fans in Canada can watch the game live on TSN2. Fans in the USA can watch the game live on ESPN3. Replays of the game will be available here on the Lacrosse Network after the game ends. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a 3-goal game. Rock up 14-11. The Roughnecks of Calgary surging in this fourth quarter to make this a ball game. They have been sensational, and Mike Poulin in between the pipes has been one of the key reasons why. Curtis Manning in the neutral zone. High pass taken by Sean Evans. Sean Evans finally getting on the board, being double, triple teamed. Seeing nothing but white jerseys. Sean Evans still down. Keeps the play alive, and Dobie, is that going to be an over and back? It is. Tremendous effort, though. Toronto trying to take it in stride. Here's the rookie O'Connor in the open net. Scores! The extra attacker on for Calgary. And Ethan O'Connor, after a rough night, gets his first NLL goal. A nice feel-good story for Ethan O'Connor to make it 15-11 with 2:20 to go in the fourth.
Yeah, kind of a rough first shift for O'Connor anyway, but he's really come on, played very well since then. He has a couple of assists, gets his first NLL goal, and he's actually had a pretty solid evening, and you can see how happy he is there on the bench.
He settled in, has been outmanned and outmuscled from time to time, but hey, this is a tough league, and to crack this roster says something right there. Rose with a save.
11,120.
You see the attendance on the screen. Great opening crowd on a freezing cold night here in Toronto. Hope you're warm wherever you're watching all over the world, as it is cold here. 1:52 to go. Toronto up by 4. Hellier eating up clock on the left wing. Kicks it back to Billings. Colin Doyle, the captain, making his move to the right wing.
The Rocks
Toronto
are
is 2
killing
men
time
back
here.
And Garrett Billings looking for another. Toronto with 2 men back. Just in case. A minute 30. Here comes Shatler. Hustling up. Quick behind the back shot. Didn't fool Rose. Went in between. And Edwards was turned inside out there. Went head over heels off of that hit. Calgary pressing. Desperation time. Poulin back in goal. Casey Byrne's underhand toss to LeBlanc, creating some space as time is ticking away for the Calgary Roughnecks.
How about last year's 2 top scorers in the National Lacrosse League? Sean Evans with a goal and 7 assists tonight. Garrett Billings, a goal and 9 assists.
Oh, and how about Stephen LeBlanc with his 5th goal of the night? Stephen LeBlanc has played like a man possessed and looking his best since his rookie season. 16-11 Toronto.
Yeah, the Rock taking advantage of the lots of open space. A couple of Calgary players staying up in the offensive zone, hoping that they can get the ball back quickly and just fire it up. But the Rock making them pay for it. Garrett Billings picks up his 10th assist.
Wow.
On that goal.
Wow. Big time numbers for the 2 leading goal scorers or point getters. Going head-to-head, and Sean Evans with 112 and Garrett Billings 100 last year. Right back on track. Calgary, no quit. And that's what you want to see if you're Kurt Malosky of the Calgary Roughnecks, their head coach. You want to see no quit and fight to the last second. That's definitely what they're doing. Here's Jesse Gamble with 42 seconds to go. Chapman loses it. It's going to be an over and back.
My mistake, no assist to Billings on that one. It was Byrnes and Marshall get the assist.
Oh, it's only 9 assists.
Only 9.
Oh,
only 9.
Disappointing. 30 seconds. This Air Canada Centre crowd is getting loud as the Rock will win the home opener. 18 seconds to go. Toronto swept the season series in 2013 and will win the first one of 2014. There's Edwards, 10 seconds left, and Edwards will just stand there. But look, Calgary again hacking Edwards. And this is what you want to see. Andrew McBride, the captain, leading by example. Edwards and McBride pushing and shoving. Roughnecks showing that they will not give up at all until the last second and even afterwards.
this is a message being sent by the captain of this team, Stephen.
I think so, absolutely. And, you never like to lose. You never like to be outplayed the way the Roughnecks were in the first quarter, the first half of this game. And Damon Edwards just standing there with the ball, and Andrew McBride came over to send a message. Sean Evans came over to help him out. A forward heading over. He likes to get involved as well. But ultimately, it's not going to make much difference to the 16-11 win. A great start to the season for the Toronto Rock.
Absolutely. The Rock winning at home. The Roughnecks, from a positive standpoint, can at least say they overcame 3 quarters of sporadic play for a strong finish, and we're right in it until the end. We'll take a quick break, come back with some post-game show. The Rock down the Calgary Roughnecks at the Air Canada Centre, 16-11. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The one shift where he sent out Tora Reinhold, Garrett McIntosh, and Matthew Dinsdale in the offensive zone, and things seemed to really turn around after that. I think the message was received.
Well, young team, lots of draft picks, a team that's built to win now, but also for the future, and that's in contrast a little bit to this Toronto Rock Club with a lot of veterans, but ultimately that veteran presence combined with the young blood of Jesse Gamble and Rob Hellier. Tremendous effort tonight.
Garrett Billings and Stefan LeBlanc are only in their 5th seasons in the National Lacrosse League. There's still a lot of good young players on this Rock club.
And if you look at Stefan LeBlanc, we talked about it through the broadcast, looked like a totally different player. Even taking the success of his rookie season, he was more physical tonight. He was all over. He didn't shy away from hits, and he buried the ball. He looked great.
Yeah, and you say a totally different player, but I think it's by small degrees, just little bits, little things here and there, going to the net, going hard, playing physical. He's always played that way, but he just seemed very confident doing it tonight. And sometimes it's a matter of confidence. Even you think these guys are so good, they'd always have their confidence. But in anything, even professional sports, confidence is a big factor.
Talk about the youngsters on Calgary here. Carson Leung really stood out to me. Tor Reinhold, a nice game too. I liked what he brought, but Carson Leung, the speed and the intensity he brought to this Calgary Roughneck lineup, impressive.
Yeah, no, I think Leung was great. Reinhold had an okay game. A couple of shaky defensive moments, but that's going to happen to a rookie. But Leung really showing that great sense of when to take off, heading up the floor, looking comfortable handling the ball. And Leung is a guy we've talked about. He has a lot of offensive upside, and he can really zip out of that defensive zone.
Yeah. If you're the Calgary Roughnecks, any cause for real concern coming out of this one, or can this be chalked up to a bit of rust and just getting used to one another in a new season?
I think some concern, I mean, mostly rust, mostly new season, but the concern to me for them is there were too many breakdowns defensively where, I mean, that one example of LeBlanc's 4th or 5th goal where there were 4 red shirts around and he still got open. And that shows maybe a bit of a lack of communication, a lack of preparedness. Offensively, I think you just write off the first couple of quarters as not really clicking. One of those games, they got it going after that, and they looked fine.
Sure. For the Toronto Rock, looked great pretty much for 4 quarters. Calgary did get on that run, but with the offensive talent, you expect that. What are some of the positives that you can take away for the Rock?
You get the W, obviously is huge. Every win in this league is going to be hard.
The parity, absolutely.
Yeah, and the one thing, every time that Calgary did something almost every time, it seemed like the Rock responded, and that's something
Yes.
you love to see from your team.
Well, with that, we'll step aside and say goodnight from the Air Canada Centre in Toronto for Stephen Stamp. I'm Andy McNamara. Toronto wins it 16-11. Good night from Toronto.
Good night.